our last video, we talked about artificial germination with the grow lights and the cost of energy and all those kinds of things. Today, I want to talk about natural germination, or basically growing from seed but doing it outdoors. Now, there's a few considerations, a few advantages and disadvantages of that. Just like artificial germination, so an advantage is obviously a controlled environment where you can monitor everything, you're free of predators, etc. Outdoors, there's also some advantages and disadvantages. Disadvantages would be obviously you're probably going to have a higher mortality rate because you can't control the environment and everything else. You have to worry about predators getting into seed and everything else, and we'll talk about a couple different ways to do it. But an advantage would be, obviously there's no energy costs. You're not worrying about watering, there's less workload, and the trees and bushes or whatever, the plants that do grow will be more adapted to the site. They'll be, I guess, stronger, better genetics maybe. Okay, so that's a major advantage. Okay, so how can we do this naturally? Well, there's a few different ways. Okay, number one, you could sow seed in an area where you want the trees to eventually be. Okay, so for example, if you wanted a line of mulberry trees, you could sow that seed in place late in the fall, just heavily seed those areas, and then you get the stratification process over winter. And then when spring comes, you have this natural germination. The trees are in place, and then if you get a bunch that come up, then you can just thin down to what you want eventually. Okay, that would be a huge advantage because those seeds are growing trees in the spot, and they never have to be transplanted or anything like that. Okay, so that would be great. Another way you could do it is you could sow the seed outdoors in nursery beds that are protected with fencing and that kind of thing, and that would be a great way to do it as well. And there's lots of advantages to that. It's a little bit tighter in. You can protect that smaller space from predators, etc. And then you'd obviously, once they grow up to a certain stage, then you'd have to transplant them. But maybe you just transplant them one time, and then off you go. All right. Another way you could do it is you could sow seed in buckets outdoors. So again, you get that stratification process, and then you could cover. I've seen this done by people. Well, they'll cover those buckets with some type of material to keep predators out. Okay, so that would be another way to do natural germination. So again, advantages to natural germination: less energy requirements, less work requirements. Basically, once seed goes dormant outside, then you're not worried about it. And then during the spring, in the spring, that stuff hopefully comes up naturally. Disadvantages: you're probably going to have a higher mortality rate. You don't get a chance to really to basically watch and make the conditions ideal. All right, so that would be a way of natural regeneration. And if you got lots of seed, then you could do it that way if you're not worried about it. Or you could do both. I mean, there's an option as well. Experiment with both. All right, so that's natural regeneration or natural sowing of seed.